drinks were on, and then this hand happened. So the straddle was on. Under the gun +1 opened to 500, +2 called, and the middle position re-raised to 1500. The cutoff called, and the bottom folded. The small blind under the gun and +1 called. Everybody wanted to try his luck, so the pot was 9200. The flop came 843 rainbow. It all checked to the cutoff. We stopped to contemplate, and it was easy to tell that he had good cards. Eventually, he bet 3,000, and everybody folded. He announced that he had pocket threes, and therefore have hit a set. And then fun things started to happen. The middle position said, "Hey, I helped build the pot." So he got 500 back, and after seeing this, people started going crazy. One shouted out, "Who dealt you the good cards?" and got 200. And another guy said, "Hey, I open raised," and he also got 200 back. I raised my hand and yelled, "Hey, I'm drinking whiskey," and I also got my 200. How nice of him. Let's give him a name. His name is Mr. Light. Thank you, Mr. Light. I guess that's what happens when you drink and play in a friendly home game. The blinds were 50-100. I was under the gun and I looked down at pocket kings. I opened to 400. Under the gun +1 calls, but everybody else folded. The pot was 950. And the flop came King Jack 10 rainbow. So I hit top set, but I think this is a good board for under the gun +1 as well. And this guy really likes to be playful. So I bet 400. And he immediately min-raised me to 800. Now I think he's more likely to just have a queen or 9-8 for a straight draw. And since I have top set, it's less likely for him to have a king. So I don't want to re-raise yet to scare him off. I just call his min-raise. And the turn came the 6 of hearts, putting a flush draw on the board, but I doubt he'll have that. I checked, and he kept betting. He bet 800. Which was really small, just close to 1/3 of the pot. I thought about raising again, but I think he would just fold if he was still on a draw. And if I just call his bet and he misses draws, it will bet again on the river. So I made the call. The river came the 4 of hearts, completing the backdoor flush. I checked once again, and he decided to bet 1500, also really small. I really don't see a lot of hands that could beat me. And even if he had a backdoor flush, given how small he bet, I did not have to be right that often. And after I called, he just mocked his hands. So I think he had no showdown value, maybe just a missed straight draw. I don't know what to say about this next hand. I think my imagination here is capped. So straddle was on, and the middle position, aka Mr. Y, opened to 700. The hijack called the 700. Mr. Cho under the gun called the 700, so the pot was 2250. The flop came 776 rainbow. Mr. Joe checked. Mr. Y bet 1000 into 2250. The hijack called again, and Mr. Cho folded, so the pot was 4250. The turn came the 5 of diamond. Mr. Y suddenly decided to go all in, his usual move. However, the hijack immediately called his all-in and flipped over 8-4 suited. No idea how he got here, but he had turned a straight. On the other hand, Mr. White flipped over Queen 10 off. No idea how he got here either. Everybody was excited, and the river came a king, so hijack took down the pot.
蹲了这么久，all in 一下好了，结果你就切了，偷一下。
This next hand was also very crazy. Under the gun +1 limped. I was at the cutoff looking down with A6 of clubs. I also limped in. And the bottom opened to 500. The small blind and the big blind both folded. Under the gun +1 and I called. And the flop came 10 deuce deuce 2 spades. Under the gun +1 checked and I checked as well. The bottom bet 1000, and suddenly under the gun +1, check raised all in with 12,000. And of course it folded right away. The bottom quickly called and flipped over his Queen Jack of spades, so he was on a flush draw. Under the gun +1 flipped over King 10 of clubs. He had top pair and a good kicker. The turn came the 7 of clubs, and the river was the deuce of clubs, giving under the gun +1 a full house. Not that he needed a full house to win anyway. So the dude won 2 all-ins in a row. Nice hand, man.
Fishy hand coming up. I folded at low jack and hijack limped, so did cut off the bottom, small blind, and the big blind. 5 limpers, so the pot was 500. And the flop came jack, 8, 7, 2 diamonds. The dude to my left, a crazy dude, let out 300 into 500, and only the bottom, a good player, called. The pot was 1100. The turn came the deuce of diamond, so somebody might have hit the flush. Dude to my left continued betting. He bet 800 into 1100, and the bottom once again made the call. The pot was 2700. The river came yet another diamond. It came the king of diamond. Dude to my left finally decided to check, so it was obvious that he didn't have any diamond. The bottom now bet 1300 into 2700, half pot, and the dude to my left thought for a second and yelled out, "I'm here to make friends," and called. So I thought he had 10-9, which was a flopped straight, because there were 4 diamonds out there. Normally, one wouldn't have called if he had no diamond. But he then turned over jack 8. He flopped top 2 pair on the flop. And the bottom, the good player, flipped over queen 6 of diamond. So he turned a flush. Pretty reasonable that he called 2 streets and bet on the river. I wanted to say to the player to my left, I would love to be your friend. This next hand is between Mr. Cho and the good player, Mr. L. So it all folded to Mr. Cho in the hijack position, who limped, and Mr. L in the cutoff opened to 400. It all folded again to Mr. Cho, who called the 400. So they went heads up to the flop. The flop came queen 10-8 with 2 spades. Now Mr. Cho decided to dunk 400 into 1000. So it looked like he had something. Maybe a queen 10, 2 pair, just a queen, sometimes even jack 9. Mr. L in the cutoff called the 400. The pot was 1800. And the turn came the 9 of diamonds. So whoever had a jack now made a straight. Now Mr. Cho decided to slow down and he checked. Mr. L, however, now bet 1000 into 1800. Mr. Cho didn't think too much and made the call. The river came the 5 of spades, completing the front door flush. And now Mr. Cho decided to lead out once again. He bet 4,000 into 3,800. And Mr. L quickly folded and flipped over Queen Jack. So although he made a straight, he still decided to quickly fold to the pot-sized bet on the river from Mr. Cho. Mr. Cho later showed Ace 3 of spades. So indeed, he rivered the nut flush. Nice fold by Mr. L. If it were me, I would still have folded, but not that quickly. And if it was Mr. Y, he would definitely have called. There goes the 5th video. A lot of crazy all-ins and a lot of crazy calls. I hope you have enjoyed it. Like our videos, leave a message, and subscribe. I will see you next time.